Now, harmful and traditional practices have left several women with severe childbirth injuries, commonly referred to as obstetric fistula, with calls for the government to invest more in maternal health care. This is according to a report by Amnesty International Zimbabwe. I never thought I could get healed from this, which found the situation dire in teenage girls who experience child marriages and births, especially in the rural areas with little to no equipped health facilities. Now, according to the United Nations Population Fund, obstetric fistula is one of the most serious and tragic childbirth injuries. Now, this morning we are joined by Rosalina Muzerengi. She's a campaigns coordinator for Amnesty International Zimbabwe. Good morning, Rosalina.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us as we talk about this really sensitive issue that we have been experiencing, and I know that you've seen a lot more of this. Now, you are on the ground of this and you have done the research. My question to you is, what prompted you to carry out this research?
Okay, thank you so much for your question. What prompted us as Amnesty International Zimbabwe to carry out this research was that as an organization, our human rights campaigns are research-based. And the need to carry out a research on obstetric fistula was informed by another research that we had carried out that was focusing on access to sexual reproductive health rights information affecting teenage girls. So the fistula debate kind of kept coming back, and we said, you know what, we need to really go deep
into this one as well.
Yes, into this one as well, and look at the human rights dimension of this hidden tragedy of obstetric fistula.
And you're right in saying it's a hidden tragedy because you don't hear often much about it. But share with us your findings. What did you find when you did your research?
Okay, what we found out, we found out quite a number of issues, but I'll just speak to a few. Okay, the first one was that young women, particularly teenage girls, are at risk of life-changing birth injuries like obstetric fistula because they fear going to the health institutions because of the costs that are related and the stories that they've heard around the way, young women are treated in health institutions. So they run the risk of getting a birth-related injury called obstetric fistula. And maybe just to say that obstetric fistula is an injury that happens at birth. Right. It's a hole that is created between the bladder and the birth canal, and between the bladder and the fecal canal. Right. So when that hole develops, it causes incontinence or uncontrollable leakage of either feces or urine. Right. So the individual now is not able to control that. Yeah. So they have this smell, that always comes out. So it's an issue of dignity, and it usually affects teenage girls. Yeah.
And this disease that you've just mentioned, can it be prevented?
Yes.
And if so, how?
It's prevented, and it can also be corrected. Right. How can we prevent this? I think we need to ensure that women give birth in health institutions, because it's a result of obstructed labor. But you find that young women, particularly those from the apostolic sect, are the ones that are usually affected by these conditions.
Because they don't believe in medicational health.
Yes, they don't believe in medicational health, and some of them are actually afraid to go to health institutions. And there are quite a number of religious and traditional beliefs around, giving birth at home, because there's this belief that we need to test the paternity of this child, and obstructed labor is linked to not the young girl not being able to tell who the father is, and yet it's just obstructed labor. It needs you to go to the hospital
and get fixed.
Yes.
So I mean, you have mentioned this, that it happens in the apostolic sect, and often I understand that it also happens in the rural areas. Obviously, but as your organization, how are we curbing this? You see, I did ask is this preventable. You said yes. Are you guys going out there? What are you doing in terms of trying to bring awareness about this condition?
Okay, as Amnesty International in Zimbabwe, we've got a comprehensive human rights education strategy where we are going out into communities to raise awareness on this condition. Like one of the findings that came through the research was that people are not aware that this condition can be prevented and that this condition can be it can be
treated.
Yeah, it can be treated. Yeah. It can be corrected, and there's the belief that the person has been bewitched. Right. So we are going out, demystifying, removing the myths that surround obstetric fistula. Recently, we launched a film, At the End of the Rainbow, which was looking at the intersectionality between child marriages, lack of access to sexual reproductive health rights services, and obstetric fistula. So this film is meant to raise awareness not only to poor people in marginalized communities, but even to legislators themselves, because you find that most of them are not aware of this condition. Like I said, this condition is shrouded in a lot of mystery and people do not know about it. Yeah. So we are using film, we are using theater, we are using this spaces
awareness,
yes, to ensure that people are educated about this devastating injury.
Okay, and obviously because we want to correct this, what are the existing barriers to this treatment that you have seen?
Okay, there are quite a number of barriers that we discovered as we were carrying out the research. One of them is the cost barrier. Okay. Yeah, when you want to access maternal health care, it's very expensive. And like I said,
it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be that way. Because we have a free maternal health policy, it needs to be implemented. And then the other barrier is the lack of decision-making power on some of the young girls to decide whether or not to go and seek maternal health care. So that's one of the, and then the other one is distance. The distance that comes with having to travel to a health institution. Okay. And in terms of accessing the corrective surgery itself, most people are not aware that the Ministry of Health and Child Care has got, carries out what they call fistula camps, where corrective surgery is done for free in Mashoko and Chinhoyi hospitals. Okay. So people are not aware of that provision.
Yes, yeah, I mean, this is also news to me. And that was the question that I was going to ask, like, what is there any help, or what are your sponsors, or what is out there for people to actually say, hey, I can actually go to this hospital and stuff? That was my next question to you.
Yes, what is not out there, should I take it that way, is the information of where to access this corrective surgery. People don't know, like I indicated, that this condition can be corrected and they do not know where to go. So as an organization, we are actually urging Ministry of Health and Child Care, whilst we appreciate the work that they are doing,
have already done,
that they are already doing,
we need more.
We need to have this information out there in the marginalized communities, because this is where obstetric fistula is mostly prevalent.
Right. So tomorrow is International Day of Obstetric Fistula. What is in plan? What is the plan for tomorrow? Obviously, because we want to blitz this, we want to push it out. What have you planned as an organization?
As an organization, we have come here and raise awareness on obstetric fistula, to make people aware that there's a condition called obstetric fistula that is preventable and that is treatable. Okay. And we need to be aware that obstetric fistula is actually a human rights issue. For us as Amnesty, we look at obstetric fistula from a human rights perspective, where we are saying when somebody has got obstetric fistula, their dignity is compromised. Yeah. They are not able to move around. So the freedom of association, because of the self-ostracization and the stigma that comes with obstetric fistula, for us it's an inequality issue. Yes. So we are calling on communities to find out people with those conditions and then go to the Ministry of Health and Child Care, seek help so that they can be treated from this condition. Right. So our as Amnesty International, what we are trying to do is to raise awareness.
So tomorrow, are you going to be out on the streets? Where are you really going to be pushing this agenda?
It's an ongoing.
It's an ongoing thing.
Yes.
Right.
So tomorrow we have. You look at our social media platforms. We'll be there. Go to our YouTube channel, Amnesty International. There's a film at the end of the rainbow that speaks to obstetric fistula. People can be, you can increase your knowledge and understanding of the condition if you watch that film.
That's good. And just wrapping up, Rosalina, what are your organizational recommendations to the healthcare service to help this be deterred?
Okay, thank you so much. Our recommendations as Amnesty International is to say that the government should ensure that the free maternal health policy is implemented.
Free maternal health policy.
Yes, the free maternal health policy should be implemented because whilst we appreciate the efforts for corrective surgery, but we are saying it might look like a case of mopping the floor with the tap running.
Yeah.
There need to have preventive measures to ensure that obstetric fistula does not happen at all. And one of the ways is to reduce maternal mortality, because whilst we don't have statistics to show the level or the gravity of obstetric fistula, our maternal mortality is the highest. It's one of the highest in Southern Africa and in the world, and it is an indicator of maternal morbidities. So we are also saying to government they need to come up with a comprehensive human rights education to educate the masses about obstetric fistula, and they should implement policies that prevent child marriages and ensure that young people have access to sexual and reproductive health services, because there's a connectedness between the
through the whole thing.
Yes,
that's absolutely fantastic, and thank you for the work that you are doing as a company, as in the society as well. This is bringing a great awareness to this. Where do we find you on social media?
On social media, you can find us at Amnesty International Zimbabwe Facebook page, and then at Amnesty Zim Twitter.
Amnesty Zim on Twitter?
Yes, Amnesty Zim Twitter, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And there you have it. I mean, this is really a condition that can be prevented. It can be treated as well. For you out there who know somebody who's going through this in the rural areas, young teenage girls who cannot be open to say that they are pregnant, listen, this is the time where you can actually put your foot forward and actually introduce them to Amnesty International. Thank you so much, Rosalina, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you. And